Willie D. Live.
In the criminal justice system. Everyone chose their role, right? Law enforcement, judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, advocates. But I've never met anyone who said, pick me, pick me. I want to be a victim of a crime. So it's the least you can do, especially in government, is to have someone looking out for your rights, your well-being, and your due process, and to make the system work for you, and someone who's not afraid to give you straight answers and not just tell you something you might want to hear just so you'll go away. So I developed a reputation as someone you frankly didn't want to mess with.
Right. Being a stickler for accountability, do you or have you ever had that criminal, that convict that you said, you know what, this guy's reformed, I believe him. I'm talking about a really violent offender.
Yes.
And this guy's reformed. I'm going to go ahead and give him my blessings. And then it came back to bite you in the butt.
I'll tell you a story of something that you just touched on, but it didn't come back to bite me. And there was actually a story in the old Houston Post. There was a guy, parents came to me, his mother came to me, he was a teenager, and he murdered his stepfather. And she gave me, I looked at it, and the stepfather was abusing him, sexually abusing him, and he just had enough, and he turned around and shot and killed him. They gave him 15 years for it. And he had done X amount of years, and he was up for parole, and she, said, I know this is something you normally don't do, but I want to see if you can, and I looked at it, I looked it over everything, and I agreed, and I met with the parole board on behalf of this young man. And I went to bed. I said, I'll take the heat. I said, obviously, and they approved his parole. And he owns his own business now. And, so something like that, yeah. So my position has always been, look, the reality is a majority of offenders are eventually going to come back to the community. How do you want them back? Do you want them back the same way they went in? Guess what? More victims. Or do you want them when they come back to give them an opportunity to succeed so they don't have to resort to crime? So it's in all of our best interest to ensure that when someone has paid his debt to society and is coming back to the community, that the community gives them the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah, that's very important, man, because the way the laws are written today, I don't see that being the case. I see there are a lot of obstacles for ex-felons to try to overcome when they get out. It's like society really shuns felons. And it's like you said, like if they're going to get out, how do you want them to come back into society? How do you want them to reintegrate into society? If you're telling them you can't have this type of business, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't own this, you can't do this, then they've paid their debt to society. Once a man or woman pays their debt is paid. Imagine buying a car and they tell you, okay, you got 6 years to pay the payments on this car. And then when those 6 years are up, they're still sending you a bill saying you need to pay. You need to continue to pay. And I see that happening in our society a lot. And I do think that oftentimes when they make it that hard for people to reintegrate into society, to get reacclimated, I think what happens is that it makes them bitter, and a lot of times it makes them give up.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Like I said, the reality is a majority will be returned back to the community, and if you don't give someone the opportunity to succeed, you end up more people contacting victim advocates like myself. So it's in everybody's best interest to reduce victimization. And one of the ways you do that is to help people when they do get released back from prison so you don't create more victims. And I think we do a horrible job of doing it. And I come from, keep in mind, I actually was a parole, so I know what it's like. And that's what kind of made me unique in doing what I do, because I know the system. I know how it works inside and out. I know the bureaucracies, the red tapes, the X's and the O's, so I can cut to the chase real quickly.